Hey everybody, welcome back to your Dawn of Autonomy podcast. I'm Dawn Zoldi, your host and the CEO of P3 Tech Consulting. We are concluding an incredible month that we've dedicated to the theme of OEM software and systems leaders. It's a mouthful, but man, it was a month full of great shows. So if you missed any of them, go back and watch on demand. But today we've got two incredible guests. We've got Kevin Fray and Jeremy Willingham, both from Mark43, with us, who are going to talk about their records management system and computer-aided dispatch systems, working quite a bit with public safety, but of course also the Department of Defense. And so really excited to talk to both of you today. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. It's great to be back, Dawn.
Yep. And Kevin says back because if you missed it, we did a world premiere of the Mark43 platform with Kevin a while ago. If you missed that, check it back out on demand. We'll send you that link. And it was really great because Kevin literally demoed the platform and walked us through it. But before we get into the platform again, Kevin, let's start with you. And why don't you give folks just a little bit about your background?
Yeah. Thanks, Dawn. Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Fray. I'm the Field Chief Technology Officer at Mark43. I've been here for close to 9.5 years. Started with the first customer, helping out with the implementation and technical support and services of the sustainment team. And then as we got the go-to-market strategy together, started responding to proposals, started doing active demonstrations in front of customers, I took over the go-to-market strategy on that side and lead the pre-sales practice at Mark43. So ultimately, I just try to listen to the field and be the customer's advocate, during the early sales process, all the way to handover to post-sales. A little bit more about my background. Previous to Mark43, I worked in the federal government space, so with the Department of Homeland Security. Was product owner of a records management system in one of their agencies. Also was doing a lot of support through Deloitte for Department of State, DoD as well. And then in a further past life, I was an officer, boarding officer, surface warfare officer in the United States Navy, getting my commission from the Naval Academy with a degree in computer science.
All right, very good. We actually have a really joint service show today. Kevin's representing Navy here. I'm toting the Air Force flag. And then Jeremy, our next guest, who's going to introduce himself, is former United States Army. So Jeremy, tell me a little about you.
Yeah, so I'm Jeremy Willingham. I've been with Mark43 for about 1.5 years. And that means I've been retired from the Army for about 1.5 years. I did 30 years in the United States Army. Mostly 27 of that was active duty, and I was a military policeman. So this move to Mark43 was perfect, as I'm familiar with the products and the computer-aided dispatch, records management, analytics, crime analytics. Did a lot of that in my time in the Army, and so came on board here. And my focus is on federal business development. So I'm focused primarily on our federal customers and helping them navigate new technology, which a lot of mostly our federal customers have not had in the majority of their time. So it's very exciting to bring some of the latest and greatest technology to our DoD and civilian federal partners.
Well, Mark43 is all about the latest and greatest technology. So I'll just ask either one of you, can you kind of give us that 30,000 foot view of the company and exactly what it is Mark43 is all about? And somehow, Kevin, we lost your voice.
So yeah, exactly. First and foremost, Mark43 is we label it as a public safety platform for the future. So what that includes from an industry standpoint would be computer-aided dispatch. So the moment you dial 911, the cell phone tower goes through call handling system, drops off into the dispatch system. So what the call taker is using, seeing on their screen, all the way to seeing their units on a map, a live active, Esri-oriented map, dispatching units. Again, the dispatcher can take that over. There's several different models of the telecommunications center. And then what the first responder uses in the field, right? What's on their in-car computer, noted as a mobile data terminal, mobile data computer. And then finally on the police side, whenever you start taking the information like, field contact, or you start, documenting the arrest or the offense or the incident, the crime reporting, and like associated regulations or regulatory things that these agencies might have to collect, whether it's stop data or again, specific crime statistical data, the whole chain of custody, of evidence, all of that type of action. So that's what we label as the full records management system, records management platform, including submissions to federal databases, traffic crash, collision, citation products, and then being able to look at that data. We like to say good data in, great data out. Being able to make decisions off your data. Data-driven decision making is a great way to be planning and orienting your agencies. So yes, just being able to make sure that data is available. And then all of this is layered on a cloud native solution and platform with our very strong partnership with Amazon Web Services. So it's an entirely different business model and an approach to an industry that was long overdue for disruption. And as Jeremy noted, the technology that they deserve, not just that they need.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I mean, you and I talked about this, I think, on the worldwide premiere. Public safety has, thanks to Chula Vista Police Department, really, kind of the groundbreakers here, really forged ahead with advanced technology, especially in the form of drones and this concept of drone as first responder. And I know that's just another data set that can plug and play into the Mark 43 system. But let me ask you, what inspired the company Mark 43, right? Because like you said, there are other systems out there. What inspired the creation of Mark 43 to kind of take it to the next level?
Yeah. And, to clarify, I'm not a founder. I'm an early employee. I was, hired by Flo, who's one of the three co-founders. So, the founders, they were in a consulting class at Harvard. And one of the, missions of the consulting class, there were additional group members, but they were, set to work with the Massachusetts State Police. And at that time, there was a downturn in the economy. The western, part of Massachusetts was going through a lot of difficulties and challenges, economic challenges, plants being shut down. So they're looking at data and helping, run state interdiction operations, whether it was, organized crime, running drugs. And you'll see this in certain states, high intensity drug task force operations between the state police and, local agencies, stopping the trafficking of again, illicit drugs. And then, to go with that, you're gonna have guns as well and more to follow. So yeah, ultimately they were working with the systems. They found that the state was using disparate systems that, possibly when you took a 50,000-foot view of the industry, these platforms were cumbersome. They were hard to maintain. And a lot of times the implementations were long, and by the time you get them implemented, they were obsolete. So being able to pull data from that, drive data-driven decision making, and again, be good stewards of data, good data in, great data out. It was an extremely difficult task and process. So taking a step back, they put together the model of a modern and accurate and very flexible and robust records management platform, and then really pushed from there. And that was almost 14, 15 years ago. And then established the company and started looking for major agencies to work with.
Awesome. It's a really interesting story how they saw the problem and then created a solution to it, and been going strong for 15 years. Well, Jeremy, you've been using some systems, obviously, as a military police officer, and just working with your civilian colleagues. What, in your experience, sets the Mark 43 technology apart in terms of public safety technology?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. Number one, as Kevin mentioned, cloud native from the beginning. We're cloud native, very flexible, scalable, able to be secure in a much different capacity. And that is the beginning. Being able to have that security and that cloud native platform and flexible platform for those officers. And then the biggest thing I've noticed from talking to our customers is the ease of use. It's very user friendly. The platform, we obviously do training. We train everybody on the platform when they become customers. But the biggest thing is it's very easy. There's drop downs. There's pre-formatted forms and so forth inside of our platform. It's very easy for young officers to learn and to use, and then maintain those types of reports and stuff. Then collaboration. What sets us apart is collaboration with others. We're, our system is open. We're able to connect to other agencies. We're able to connect and show over different jurisdictions, share information, data sharing. That makes us, different from your standard agency out there.
Well,
that's kind of the big things.
No, those are big things. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're talking public safety or, mapping and surveying, anything. It's always about the data, right? And now, Kevin, you mentioned the term cloud native. Tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. This is a big value proposition of Mark43, and it really drives our ability and ability to mold and move fast with the industry. Ultimately, the cloud native, it's a very distinct difference between cloud-based. And what cloud native means is the platform is built specifically for the cloud, not adapted from an older on-premise solution. And so, to really draw a line in that distinction, look, there's again, modern tools, the Kubernetes, delivery models, the newest and latest, DevOps delivery models makes it very easy for you to take your old technology, whether you're using, .NET, using a multi-server architecture, right? You can take, again, your old software, no matter when it was developed, you can containerize it, you can put it, on the same infrastructure that you have right now. And then they can easily ship and put that in the cloud, right? And just, use services and just, continue running your legacy platform. Really it's, that's just, almost co-locating your servers, right? Folks have been doing that, for decades, right? So, and you'll get some intrinsic benefits of the cloud from that, but that line cloud native, right? We are using, again, premier partnership with Amazon Web Services. We're very proud of that. They've, been involved with us very early, very strong partnership, not just from a business orientation, but actually from, tech stack and working with, the infrastructure of our platform. But we're using the native tools that Amazon Web Services provides, the S3 bucket, the relational database services, right? We have a multi-scalable architecture. We're using their load balancers. We're scaling that data across multiple sites and multiple zones, right? We have automated backups. We're backing it up in different regions so that if an entire region fails over, we're going through our backup policy every time we release new software, right? So there's a lot of things that is intrinsic to our operations that are built into Amazon Web Services, and they're using their best-in-class tools and leveraging the shared responsibility model. So as they're pushing out updates, as they are maintaining 6 to 7 nines of availability, again, we get those super intrinsic benefits. And then again, it just allows us to deploy software quickly, flexibly, and with little to no downtime. So automatic updates, right? And then I haven't even really talked about the security that provides, right? Because look, these agencies are under attack, all the time. It started with, hospital systems, decades ago, but now, it's very well known that public safety agencies and governments are using, legacy platforms and are the last bastion of cloud. So, you're hearing in the news, every week, every couple days, of cities and agencies being taken down for weeks, months, and the liability that goes with that. So, look, cloud native systems are more reliable, they offer better disaster recovery, and they allow for real-time access to information from anywhere.
Well, and frankly, AWS, you can't really get better than that in terms of partnerships. So congrats on that partnership. And the fact that you're using their cloud, really cool. I want to dive deeper now into your records management system, right? Because a picture paints 1,000 words, and I think we've got some images here that I'm going to ask you guys to walk through for us and explain, what we're seeing and how your system really helps reduce paperwork and the time that officers have to spend doing paperwork.
Yeah, so right here is the records management platform. You're seeing a master entity profile on the right. Again, this is all dummy data. On the left, you're seeing an actual report. So, Jeremy talked about the ease of use, and I like to mention that our entire ethos is just to make the product and the platform easy to use. Jeremy talked about drop downs, attribution. So what you're seeing is the result of the guardrails and just, again, making life as easy as possible for that end user, the point of attack, where they're actually entering that data, whether they're, in the field, like directly entering it through their mobile phone. A lot of young officers, a lot of folks are, expect mobile technology, and that's what Mark43 is really pushing as well. So, whether you're taking that from a mobile phone or you're taking that on your mobile data terminal computer, right? It's just going to be easy. It's going to be accurate. And then it just leads to, a clearer picture of what's going on holistically with, an entity. And that could be a people, place, location type or thing there.
Well, how does that also reduce, other than the time an officer spends inputting information, right, into these reports, how does it otherwise reduce the administrative burden also?
We bring contextual data to the front. And so, when you have guardrails and again, attribution and you kind of limit the number of choices, not a lot of free text. When that data flows downstream, when that data flows to supervisor approval, to civilian review, where they're looking at like how the data transitions to the Department of Justice or your state regulatory entities, the data can be trustworthy. And again, we're pre-filling a lot of that information. And then while, things like location data, we're using Esri so that automatically geo-validates, provides latitude and longitude. So, these processes that I'm describing are often manual or don't happen at all in legacy systems. And you might be, transcribing, you might be writing things on paper and then transcribing that data, in a data model in a legacy platform. So there are many different models of business out there. We've done thousands of hours of research and have deployed this platform across 200 plus agencies. And you're looking at, 75% reduction in time in terms of documentation efforts.
Wow, that's significant. Not only that, but like I'll call myself almost like a back-end user, right? Because I was a prosecutor in the United States Air Force, as an Air Force JAG. I've read a lot of reports, a lot of them were like handwritten, so easy, I think, to write a wrong number when you're talking about like a code citation, things like that, easy mistakes that can really kind of derail something. Something very simple could have a really bad negative impact in terms of the final report that comes out. Jeremy, you work on the federal side. Kevin was talking a lot about, state codes and kind of repopulating that. I assume on the federal side, you can do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's same platform. And what we do is we come in and spend, lots and lots of time up front with the customer, making sure we're kind of configuring exactly to what reports they're writing. If there's something different, you've got you've got DOD, you could have civilian federal agencies. You might have different crimes or different types of crimes, names of crimes, or so forth in some of those agencies. Especially in DOD, you might have something that might be a Uniform Code of Military Justice, which you're familiar with.
Yep.
So we do come in and make sure that platform, whether you're, say you're United States Secret Service, say you're Department of Defense, Army, Navy, whatnot, we're going to make sure that those reports and the configuration is exactly to how you normally will report and how you need to respond to a higher level court or whatnot.
Awesome. And I before we get on into the computer-aided dispatch, which is really more the front end of any given situation, right? Because we're talking about the records management, which is more like on scene, after scene. I just want to foot stomp what these guys noted, that this can be mobile, right? Like, so you can have this also on your phone. That's significant to me, right, Kevin? Because, or even Jeremy, right? Because historically, a law enforcement officer would roll up to a scene. They'd have, what they could see in their car on that computer display. But when they've left the vehicle, say they had to go into a building, they're leaving that data behind, maybe some important information. Now you have this mobile capability that you said goes right on the phone. So if I'm responding to a scene, I can be like literally typing things in as I'm walking up the stairs.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I'm actually putting my eyes down because I have a phone on me right now, but I could sit here and like look at the map. I could like put on my cues. I see what my units are doing across it right now. But I mean, hey, we put out a survey across, the nation, across certain public safety agencies and population wise. And, since COVID, there's been a lot of retirement. There's been a lot of, recruitment. I haven't been to an agency that is actually, properly staffed. So you're seeing a lot of younger officers. There's, a little bit of a generational revolution going on right now. So, and this young generation, 70 to 80% of them in the results of our survey just expected technology to be at the tips of their fingers. So whether you're in that field and you're, getting dispatched by, foot, the call can come in. I can see everything going on. I can see where my colleagues are. I can have situational awareness. The dispatcher as well can see that. So we've had plays with agencies where, you might hop out of your car and get into a foot pursuit. And then, you don't have time to radio for backup, but, they're directly on the map. They can see situationally that you're on that foot pursuit. California agency, right? Not too far from Chula Vista. And then, you could dispatch the drone to follow them. Or you can, have backup, en route. And, by the end of that foot pursuit, backup was there because, again, they just had immediate and instant situational awareness. So, yeah, you can really appreciate the latest technology. You can appreciate the officer safety that comes with that. And these are plays that should be ran across the nation, not just with our partner agencies. And
yeah, wow. I mean, it's almost like a Blue Force tracker, right? Like you're sitting in an ops center, you can like see everything that's happening all at one time through your system. That's amazing. Let's talk about the front end, right? This computer aided dispatch, and oftentimes, especially in a disaster response situation, it's not going to be one jurisdiction that responds. Usually it's going to be multiple agencies, sometimes even cross-border, depending on where this thing is happening. When I say cross-border, I'm talking state to state, usually, right, in the US. Tell me how your CAD works and how it's different from other offerings on the market.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go real quick, Kevin, and then you can jump in. Yeah, so our CAD right up front is built for interagency collaboration. We're CAD that allows different jurisdictions to talk. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have the ability to connect to other systems. So if someone else has a records management system, same thing with our records management. If someone else has a different product or a different vendor, we're able to connect and have that connection internally into their system. And then we're also able to share data with our state and local partners. So look, for instance, say it's a military organization, let's just say Fort Bliss, Texas, which I served at. And, the CAD that we were using there, we were able to talk to, and, they did have the same brand, but we're able to share and talk with not only our, the city of El Paso, but the sheriff there in the county, the other federal agencies and so forth. So we're able to share information as well. Again, our CAD is fully cloud native, meaning it's seamless integration with our systems and updates, of course, across jurisdictions, flexible, adaptable. I think the biggest thing I have noticed, about our CAD, again, ease of use, our CAD system and our graphics. Kevin mentioned our graphics a little bit earlier. One of the things, just a quick story, when I was the director of emergency services, my soldiers were having a tough time with that CAD, again, outdated, we had back years ago. You have the cameras or the computers in the cars with the maps, but they were having a tough time with that CAD. If you take a look at our CAD, the graphics and the ability to get you from point A to point B when you're dispatched from, your home station or wherever you're at to that crime scene, I think you'll see something spectacular that's not out there with all the other customers.
Yeah, I was just at GeoGov last week, and obviously a big Esri crowd. They were one of the major sponsors of that geospatial event. But what they're doing with this imagery and satellites, and just amazing. And the fact that you can pull in Esri data into this thing to get that kind of visual, for the officers right on the scene is really cool. Let's talk a little bit about. We talked about the records management system. We talked about computer-aided dispatch. Let's talk about analytics, right? Because data, just raw data is interesting, but unless you can get something actionable out of it for like decision makers, it's probably not super helpful, right? So tell us about the analytics portion of your platform.
Yeah. we can't have a great platform with great governance and great data in without, you being able to pull that data out and, have actionable insights from it. So there's levels to it. The analytics provides, the internal and the access to the external raw data. It just really provides actionable insights that agencies can use to identify, crime trends. Again, certain, crime patterns, or deploy resources effectively. A lot of agencies do like summer crime planning, or even, at the DoD level, like special events and ad hoc type of security situations for dignitaries or, persons of importance. And then, you can also use it to measure performance, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of field training in there. Individuals, they don't just come well trained out the box. You always have to, adjust situationally there. Ultimately, the transparency of the platform, transparency features and analytics help agencies communicate their performance and data with the public, right? And then just having that data, that's where it starts to build the trust, instead of just having, superfluous conversations. So, yeah, having great data. And then the only thing else I would add there is just, having the technical capabilities to plug and play with other systems and use that data to transition to other systems of record, whether it's like a prosecution system or, a public data type of portal or dashboard. So yeah, the analytics, very robust and very huge on the value proposition side once you have great governance and great data coming through your platforms.
Awesome. Hey, look, we all love technology, and it's awesome as long as it works. I know, Jeremy, I absolutely guarantee that in the Army, you practice, you exercise what happens when things go offline. In other words, for some reason, something goes down, your normal systems aren't operational. You guys have offline capabilities, and I think that's really important. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so one of our features that Kevin mentioned earlier, our mobile, we do have the ability to use that offline, or if the system's down, you still may have mobile capability and or internet capability and or your data plan, whatever that phone's using. So you still have the ability to use that, even if something happens back at, say, at the police station or wherever you're at, whatever agency you're at. So you still have that ability to operate. In fact, it's very interesting that you asked that question. I was in DC with you, actually, at a drone conference recently. I think we were in Baltimore, and
the FAA Drone and AM Symposium. Yeah,
absolutely. And met, I think you introduced me to a Boston cop, and of course they're one of our customers. And what a great opportunity. We just sat and talked, and he pulled up his Mark43 on his phone, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm actually working on this particular case right now." He showed me exactly
at happy hour. Okay.
Yeah. He was digging into his phone, doing his work while at a conference. So yeah, absolutely. The ability to operate, when you get home maybe, and he wants to finish out something, it's absolutely critical. Something I've not seen before, until Mark43. So.
Yeah, so that offline capability, and then, again, I'm going to circle back to use your term, Jeremy, because this idea of cybersecurity is very significant. Kevin, you mentioned this, but what we didn't talk about, or really foot stomp, was this idea that you guys are both FedRAMP and StateRAMP high authorized, and that is a process. We actually had Lauren Regiek from Carasoft. I know you guys are Carasoft partners. We had Lauren on the show, and in fact, we cut a clip of what is FedRAMP from her show. But can you just very briefly explain the significance of those particular certifications at the federal and state level in terms of cybersecurity?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's say, go on, Jeremy. I know this is huge for the federal government, so I don't want to say, I don't want to say Jeremy's federal.
Okay, so Jeremy, over to you then.
Yeah,
sorry.
This is our bread and butter here. This is for me and our team on the federal side. Thanks in part to all the Mark43 team that was working well before myself and our federal VP, Patty Trexler, before we got here. They started working on this process, been working on it for several years. But it's basically take a real deep look into your system, the deep look into your processes, your procedures, just like any kind of IT audit, if you will, but much more stringent. very stringent look from the federal government, from specifically the GSA FedRAMP Program Management Office, and spent quite a few, years actually going through this process, getting a partner in the federal space, and we have that partner. And then having the FedRAMP PMO go through our system, go through our books, go through our audits, having an outside audit, a very detailed process. I think Kevin, you might know the exact number, but it's over 400 different control measures that we have in place for ourselves. Not to mention the different ones that AWS helps out on that. They also have responsibility, and then the customer would also have responsibility as well. But it's a high level, deep look at your system and your processes. And we're proud to say we've achieved the FedRAMP High status. So there's different levels of FedRAMP. There's the moderate, the low, and we're very proud to say that Mark43 is and one of the only vendors in the public safety space that has achieved that FedRAMP High status.
Wow, that's awesome. So congrats on that. I want to talk a little bit about your partnerships. You mentioned Boston PD, but you guys recently launched a program with the New Orleans Police Department. So let's talk a little bit about that and how your cloud native records management system is going to pave the way to a safer New Orleans.
Yeah, extremely proud to launch that partnership. Many years went into this, and we have Chief Kirkpatrick's slide up here, talking about how we're going to bring safety and efficiency there. But back to a little bit of what I said earlier. Another one of the officers involved in the kind of presentation said that this platform will be a miracle. And I'm paraphrasing what she said, but in terms of bringing time savings, just real-time access to data, and again streamlining the data collection from the field level all the way to the back office end to end. They can make faster, more informed decisions directly in the field. Stop taking officers out of the streets to document administrative details, and streamline that process, make it faster, and in essence you're getting more officers in the community, right? Streamlining admin tasks, allowing for more time with community engagement. And then, earlier you kind of, you talked about it as you were talking about the differences between dispatch and kind of records management, but, it just leads to more proactive efforts of policing. So, we're very proud of that partnership, extremely, a lot of work went into it. We're looking at fully launching here in the first half of next year. The teams are working very hard right now, hot and heavy. I was just with a meeting with a few of their higher level folks yesterday. But yeah, this is big for us, big for Orleans Parish as well, because there's going to be other agencies within the parish, not just NOPD, but operating and using the system as they're going through a huge technology uplift. And then, one of our strongest partnerships for several years now has been Louisiana State Police. So they have Troop NOLA down there, and we're going to really, enforce a lot more collaboration between those two forces.
Well, that's awesome. And I don't know, I'm going to talk to Jeremy for a second. I don't know if you have any war stories or Kevin from the field that you can share. You're just standing up NOLA there. But where, Kevin, you kind of generically mentioned, this helps get officers back on the street for community engagement, so they're not doing back end administrative tasks. Do you have any real world example that you could share with us of, one of these agencies that shared with you that you're able to share with our audience now?
Yeah, I have a couple stories. I mean, I'll obfuscate the story as much as I can.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Let's keep important, squirrel detail, secret squirrel. But yeah.
Yeah, and I won't pick too dark of a story. Yeah. So we have many agencies in the state of Oregon. We have about 15 to 20 agencies, and all of them share data. In the course of a criminal investigation, on our platform. Again, bringing it back to good data in, great data out. Being that there's not a lot of free text, there's a lot of governance, guardrails. There's very small areas that you can really use free text. One of the big parts of an investigation is your narratives and your notes and information that goes on. And so, one of our great capabilities is to be able to search deeply into narratives, keyword searching, certain alerts on individuals, any kind of data field. So. an investigator, got some information on a particular criminal investigation via free text search and via a few other search parameters, and using some of our capabilities, he was quickly able to find cases from neighboring agencies that had the exact same details, the exact same MO, the exact same kind of victim profile. Positively identified the suspect, within 15, 20 minutes of reading the details of these cases, and then drove and made his arrest.
Wow, that's
yeah,
insane. That's amazing.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
reached out to us and let us know. So yeah, it was
that
pretty cool.
that's more than pretty cool. That is really, really significant. So as you guys, you've come very far. You said 15 years in the making, all the things you've done, the FedRAMP High, the state ramp high, the partnership with AWS, all these different state agencies that you're already working with, some federal agencies. As you look ahead, and as you speak to this audience, for you, like what's your ideal next step? Like who are the partners you're looking to work with at this point?
Yeah, so for especially for me on the federal side, which we've been working really hard, and we do have some pending releases. I don't think we can release yet, but definitely some big strategic customers that we've just partnered with recently, and some of that'll be released on our website or on LinkedIn and whatnot, pretty soon. But definitely continuing to grow our federal partnerships, and of course our state and local as well. And our emerging markets as well, and continuing to grow that. Just innovation in our platform. That's what's new as well. One of the things I think is important to note, we probably have more engineers and product personnel, kind of in the back room, if you will, than you do guys like Kevin and I, who may be out with the customers, but they're digging down, deep diving every day, trying to make our platform better, answering customers' concerns and/or questions. Hey, can it do this? Can it do that? So they're definitely we're looking at innovating our product constantly. Data sharing, the mobile and any continued mobile services that we're looking at. Analytics. We're also doing geo management now. So that's a somewhat newer feature in the last year or so. And then of course just expanding our partnerships across specifically for me the federal government, both on the DoD side and the federal civilian side. We're actually growing on our team on the federal side as well, so we're going to be able to reach more people in the near future.
All right, very good. Kevin, did you want to add on to that?
Yeah, Jeremy. I mean, I definitely agree with everything Jeremy noted there. There's in terms of new features, new capabilities where we're looking. I already showed the mobile application, the on scene. We're going to continue to enhance that. As I said, officers really want to do more on the phone, more on a mobile perspective, and that also brings a lot of flexibility to your IT portfolio and the options that you are able to deploy in the field as a CIO, CTO, IT department. So we're very excited about the enhancements to that and expansion of the capabilities there from an offline perspective. Also, I talked about analytics, right? Good data in, great data out, right? So just continuing, now that we've started to get more and more federal agencies. Jeremy talked about FedRAMP. Some of those agencies, years ago that we identified as needing FedRAMP to be able to approach and really provide great solutions for. We're starting to really build those partnerships. So now that we have a certain number of agencies and we're housing X amount of data, maybe it's time to continue to expand those analytic capabilities, continue to look and see what partnerships we can really help to drive more stewardship of the data. And then finally, artificial intelligence is a huge topic everywhere. There's many places, not just within the user experience, but behind the scenes at our company. As Jeremy said, we have a lot of engineers, more so than there are people like us. And they work on one platform and they work on using that cloud native model. So we really can innovate very quickly. Just in my 9.5 years, there's been a couple generations of the product is the way that I see it. But we're meeting with we just had our AI committee together. That's coalition of the willing of our customers and some of our product team. And we're looking at working on AI-driven features and enhancements that further improve operational intelligence for agencies.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Like you said, the one gentleman went in and kind of did that keyword search and was able to go across different databases and pull up similar MO, modus operandi, and identify that suspect. I imagine with AI that would be even quicker than 15 minutes. So that's going to be a remarkable feature. Like when I first met Jeremy and Patty at Edge, this past year actually in Las Vegas. We were talking about advanced technologies. AI obviously is one of the big ones, and drones, right? So Jeremy, we just had Edwin Sanchez on from Vodix, the show, and of course, he's working with a lot of public safety agencies. And it's not just about drones. It's not just about the drone dogs. Now there's underwater vehicles. I mean, we're talking multi-domain. As you guys look to the future of autonomy, and as police departments and law enforcement continue adopting more and more automated systems and autonomous vehicles, this is an area also that you guys are pushing deep into. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that Patty and I've been doing this past year is at least, attending conferences and events with you and with others around drone. And that's part of our emerging markets team that will be looking at that. And, we're really, like you mentioned, we're already doing it. We're already doing drone as a first responder in some areas with our product, and partnered with other, drone tracking products or companies, if you will. So we're already doing that in some capacities in several locations across the United States. But we're definitely digging in, like mentioned, our engineers and our product team are digging into doing that more from an internal perspective. How do we track drones? How do we, we're talking to some other companies that are also asking about, assistance in drone tracking and dispatching capabilities for drones as well. So we're definitely digging into that, at this time.
Very cool. It's so interesting too, because usually the military are the first adopters of technology, and then the commercial side or the civil side will follow. We're seeing a lot of that flipped on its head. And, we just had, we're going to have on the show in like 2 months, but we did a worldwide premiere with Grand Sky and their Project Ultra, which, is all about bringing logistics and drone delivery and things like records management, everything integrated on the military base, which is just, as Jeremy, well, and Kevin, of course, like a city. And, they're just now kind of catching on like, oh, we can use all this technology and integrate RMS and CAD, on the Air Force Base, in a holistic way that has never been done before. So I'm excited to see all this come together and what's ahead for Mark43. But in the meantime, I know we're getting close to the end of the show. Why don't you guys tell them, Jeremy, you mentioned a couple places where you were this year, where folks might be able to find you, or in Kevin's case, I believe you go out and actually do demos with folks. Tell them how they can, tap into something like that. So Jeremy, let's start with you. Where might you be on the road anytime soon where people might be able to talk to you in person?
Yeah, so for me specifically, next opportunity, I'll be in DC at the Association of the United States Army convention, the big Army convention. So I'll be there as an individual. We don't have a booth there, but I'll be there as an individual. I might try to bring Kevin along as well in case we can do some demos like we did last year. Then our big Super Bowl's coming up, for the company. IACP, International Association of the Chiefs of Police. So this year it's in Boston, mid-October, around 18th or 19th of October. I think it begins. And that's our big event. Our founders will be out there. Our CEO will be out there. Our full team is out there for that particular event. So definitely come by and see us in Boston for IACP, here next month.
Awesome. And Kevin, how do folks tap into like maybe a specific demo outside of a conference?
Yeah. I mean, definitely can check out our website, mark43.com. right? There'll be some videos there, some sizzle reels. We had our previous, interaction where I went, fairly deep into the product, so that's available on your channel there and on YouTube as well. On the website, you can find case studies, a few other resources. Plus, there's a link to like book discussions, discovery action, that leads to a greater demonstration. And then, as always, you can follow us on social media, connect with our team on LinkedIn. I myself try to at least share something, once a week, depending on what's on my mind or, where the wind's been blowing me off to. And then, as Jeremy said, we'll be at ICP. Myself, my entire team will be there. Come by and see me. I'll be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Man, you know what? I wish I was going to that. I love Boston. I think that would be such an amazing conference with all the technologies that law enforcement is doing. So anyway, right now that's not on the scope here, but have fun there in Boston. Have a great time. Hopefully, Jeremy, I'll get to see you maybe in North Dakota, but definitely at Edge in Las Vegas again as we hit 2025 and beyond. So everybody, thank you so much for your time and attention. Love what Mark43 is doing. It's been an honor really to talk to you guys again. And, reach out to them if you want to learn more. Check out their demo video. And once again, we thank you for your time and attention. We are out here.